100 days. Minecraft hardcore. You guys already know. Quick question. What's big, scary, and moist? No. Besides dream, you guys. The ocean. So as a good slave to my own campy and half-baked brand, TheCaptainsTV, I decided today I'm spending 100 days in an ocean-only world. I did a few little twists to make this video a bit more than just a desperate copy off of another YouTuber's video. I mean, I would never just copy another YouTube video. Guys, don't be silly. But I've seen a few other ocean-only videos, and they all kind of end up just going to the Nether and getting blocks for their builds, and it's not really a challenge. So for my video, I will not be allowed to go into the Nether unless it's for blaze rods. No wood. Will this be a horrible idea? Well, it's my idea, so it's probably gonna be pretty bad. But let's see how bad. Day 1, and we spawn in an ocean biome. Ooh, surprise. Now I love being salties, much as the next gamer, but I think the best thing to focus on here is finding a dry island. Right away, we find a sunken ship, which is lucky, and I start grabbing some wood. Which is gonna be very, very rare in this playthrough. And I start crafting some tools. The first chest was trash, but the second chest was treasure. We grabbed some really useful mats, and a diamond on the first day. I made an iron pickaxe, and my first little boat, and that about rounds up the first day. I can now start covering some real distance and finally find that island. But first, I come across this broken portal. It taunts me, it reminds me. The Nether can't help me in this playthrough. Then I find 2 key items. 1 is a golden apple. Remember this. And 2 is some bamboo. Very useful for making sticks, especially in a world with no wood. Day 2 is just the W key. Seriously, I just spent all day looking for an island, and I'm not stopping until I find one. You can't make me! And then finally, that night, I see it. You could probably tell from how much I'm jerking around the mouse that I was pretty excited. I'm not confirming that I peed my pants, and you can't prove it. And I didn't say it's true, but yeah, I was pretty hyped for this, for sure. First thing I do, of course, is I litter all over this little island with all of my trash. Now I'm rushing to grab some dirt, and dry off my pee-soaked pants, and expand the land. Day 3, I have a decent little chunk put together, and I decide to throw down my bamboo. I still need to find a way to feed my fat little tummy. For right now, some dried kelp is gonna have to do. I start making some iron armor, but my pants have cursive bindings, so I guess I'm stuck with these golden booty shorts. These videos are starting to share a theme. I head out for the night, and I get lucky. Oh, that kind of sounds weird. I scored that night. No, that still sounds wrong. I plundered some proper booty. Yeah, no hidden meaning behind that one. Day 4. Spend the whole day planting the crops, and that whole night, I spend putting out some torches, because I wanted to have some perfect lighting for all my Instagram pics. Totes influencer life, for real. Day 5, and I decided it's time to do the mining part of Minecraft. I struggled a little bit to make sure that my mine wouldn't flood as I was making it, but as soon as I did, I headed straight down to Y11, like any mine Chad would. Diamonds? You know it. An 8 vein too, I mean, come on now. Men like me, I don't even bother with 6 or less. That night, I find a ravine, but I guess ravines in an ocean biome are just big air pockets under the sea, and doesn't seem to make any sense physics-wise, but hey, I'm not a scientist, I'm just a failed Minecraft streamer. Day 6 is sunrise, getting my first diamond armor, because I want to focus on surviving, not doing a ton of damage with my diamond sword. I started working on the farms. I put down some slab dividers so I could place torches and walk around. Also, it just kind of looks nice. I started planting my potatoes, or as I like to call them, my salty brown balls. And as the night sets in, me and my salty brown balls are feeling right at home in this ocean world. I grab some diamonds, then plop down some more bamboo at the start of day 7. Then I get myself some diamond boots. Start working on this new project. It's a wide open platform that the mobs will spawn on. See, with no sheep, I need to kill spiders to get their string and then make wool if I ever want to get a bed and sleep in this hardcore playthrough. Little things like this was what make the ocean world so tough. I should also probably make sure I light up my own island so that no mobs spawn here. And then that night, I finally go out exploring. I find some suspicious stew, and after eating it, my eyes hurt more than watching that Logan Paul Mayweather fight. Ouch. I also grabbed some much needed wood, I head back home, start collecting some stone for the upcoming build. When I break into this open chasm, I find this witch that poisons me, brings me down to half a heart. I need to dig myself into this hole really quickly and hide, try to heal. I then eat more dried kelp than a vegan on a detox diet. Then I decide right here, it's time to start growing some real food. So in a bit of a panic, being scared from that last close call, I make a brilliant decision and I eat my golden apple. I quickly realize I totally didn't need to do that. I just wasted this golden apple. I really should have just kept it, and you'll see why. I'm done with this underground cave system. I'm running back up. I'm gonna start work on my farm, which I would definitely be watering with the tears of all the shame I felt. I then started day 10 by bone mealing the grass around the island, because if you aren't focusing on aesthetics in your hardcore playthrough, then are you really even playing Minecraft? I then dig up some dirt, expand the farm some more, and then ruin all the tall grass I just made for some wheat seeds. Is it obvious that I'm pretty upset about eating kelp all day? I want some baguettes. I want them now. Speaking of being a bit cranky, I realize that I've been awake for almost 10 straight days now. I go to the mob spawning area, trying to farm some string. I then spend the whole night being a horrible neighbor, killing everyone around me. And even with all that, I only managed to scrap up about 4 pieces of bloody and very shameful string. I then go down into the mine and find some spiders. And there, finally, halfway through day 11, I have enough wool, craft a bed, I quickly throw it down in the middle of an open exposed island with no protection, and in a state of pure sleep deprivation and exhaustion, I forget that you can only sleep at night in Minecraft. Maybe I should take a nap IRL too. Oof. And as that night falls, I get a thunderstorm / ocean sunset to finally put me to bed. Day 12, and here we go. I expand the land a little bit, grow a little bit more of the surrounding plants, and then I get started. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but I'm going to build one of the coolest castles I've ever made in Minecraft. In a world with no trees, farming wood, and from boats, it'd be a headache, and honestly, not very entertaining content too, let's be real. So I plan to make an old school style building, with no wood, no nether blocks, and still not just throwing together some ugly cobblestone building. Why do I do this? Well, it's because I hate myself. And this is all just one huge cry for help, but also because I love you, and for the content. After all the love and the huge boost in views for that last zombie apocalypse video, I know that all this hard work will make somebody's day a little bit better. Or maybe someone's background listening while they're gaming a little better. Or maybe even someone's night as they fall asleep, I'm not sure. I get a lot of views at like 4 a.m. Whatever that's all about, you creeps. But no judgment, and all jokes aside, thanks for being a part of the crew, and to all my new subs, thanks for becoming a part of the family. I spend about 2 days getting the build started, and I head down into the mine for more mats, and on my way there, I come across this guy. A zombie villager. It's pretty rare, and a very useful commodity in an ocean-only biome. Remember, we don't have any normal villages in this world. And even if we did, the villagers don't want to live with me because I smell like a sad gamer boy. And that's fair. So I need to grab this zombie in a boat and hold on to him tight. Bingo. Now I'll cover him in a little bit of stone, keep him safe, and make sure not to forget about him. I'm a little bit sleep deprived, so yeah, I might forget, but I'll try to keep it together. Day 15, and I'm starting to work on my towers. I'm gonna have 4 of them, 1 on each corner of the base, and all of them are gonna have staircases inside them. This way I can more easily move around the castle. I only have this small island, and I'm gonna be spending a lot of time here, so I want the castle to be convenient and easy to move around. I won't be going anywhere else. Also, my friends never want to go out with me anyways. But that's beside the point. I spend the whole night making sure that every inch of the castle is well lit, and I need to make sure that there are no mobs spawning in the castle. If I'm going to manage to get any other villagers in here, I want them to be safe. Day 16, I'm gotta say, looking pretty good so far. I'm trying to use all different types of stone in my build. I don't want it to look bland and boring, like your mom's face. No, I'm just kidding. You guys, your mom has a wonderful face, made of all kinds of beautiful blocks. I'm starting on the next floor, and my plan involves me living on the top floor. And well, you'll see what's gonna happen on the bottom floor. But I guess that'll have to wait, because that night I find this. Even though I thought I had the entire island lit up and safe from mobs, this manure farmer does in fact spawn, and you know what that means. I throw together another boat really quickly, and I decide to hide this guy inside, because if the sun rose on this dude, I'd be pretty upset. And now I have him hidden inside the castle walls. I run down to find our first little sneaky boy, and decide it'll be easier to keep them both together and safe. Also, I just get to feel like I'm being a little matchmaker. Come on down, Karen. You're gonna love this boy I've got picked out for you. Hope you like 'em stinky. Now kiss. I decide that I don't want these two to despawn, so I take a break from the building and focus all my work on getting a nether portal ready. Now remember, I said I wasn't gonna go into the nether and use any blocks for my building, but I did say I could go and get some blaze rods, and the reason I said that was for just this occasion. I need to make a brewing kit and fuel it to get my villagers to be slightly less stinky. Whoa, fortress. Okay, I gotta say, this is pretty lucky. It's almost a little sus, like maybe I'm cheating? And I'm so sneaky that even I don't know I'm cheating? Quickly grab some blaze rods, and just as I promised, I'm out of here without grabbing any other blocks. Day 19, I craft up the brewing kit, and I go to place it in the castle when I see this guy. I think he's asking about something called a three-way? Ugh, talk about being a creep. Well, if he had blown his load on my villagers, I would have been very disappointed. Not mad, I'm just disappointed. But just then, I guess another naughty boy snuck in behind me and did blow his load. Luckily, the villagers didn't die, but both of them seemed unsatisfied after that creeper's premature explosion, and now they wanted to come after me. I tried to tell them I wasn't gonna go zombie until after I was married. See, I was saving myself. That didn't seem to stop them. I managed to get them back in the castle, back in the boat, where we all agreed that we should probably just be friends. I ran about 1,000 blocks away to go build another nether portal. I used lava and tried to make this one quick, but I'm no dream. The reason I wanted another nether portal was to grab some brown mushrooms, because I knew I wouldn't be able to find them in this ocean. I was going to make this portal spawn, hopefully in a new nether biome. Oh, look at this, another fortress. What are the odds? And oh, wait. Come on, really? Well, I decided to stay in the nether for a little bit longer and look around, see if I can't just find the brown mushrooms anyway. But I quickly see that this is going to be too dangerous. I head back out of the nether and start making new plans. I started grabbing up some more obsidian, because I was going to be going 4,000 blocks away over the ocean. And I'm going to be real with you guys, I was kind of hoping that while I was going 4,000 blocks away, I'd find an island with a tree on it. But, you know, I guess the captain doesn't get nice things. That's fine. Instead, I find this 1 block deep area. I start building the portal here. Hopefully now I'll be able to find a nether biome with some brown mushrooms, or, you know, just die. Not have to worry about these 100 days. Both are nice. Hold me, crispy bacon. I'm scared. Finally, some good news. I see a mushroom, only like 50 blocks away from the portal. I grab it, say my farewells to Chris, and then I head home. I craft up the spider eyes with some sugar and the brown mushrooms, and then I make some glass bottles. Now, if only I could find some water, whatever will I do? I get the trusty drug lab up and running, and I start making my heroin, aka potions of weakness. I then add the gunpowder to make things a little more spicy. Now for the best part of the video. So, in order to cure zombie villagers, you need to use golden apples with your potion of weakness. But remember, I ate my first golden apple. So now, I need to go out and find 2 more to save these villagers. At this point in the video, I spend days going thousands of blocks across nothing but ocean. I stop at every shipwreck, drowned ruin, and broken portal, but I can't seem to find what I'm looking for. Now, on the night of the 25th, I do manage to find my first apple. It only took me about 2.5 days, so in my head I'm thinking, another apple won't be that hard, right? Little did I know, I just triggered the Minecraft trap card. I go out, I find some more suspicious too, and this one makes my eyes hurt worse than a tweet from Jake Paul trying to convince us that Logan Paul won the fight. And once again, I go blind from pure disgust. I come across 2 islands and yet still no trees, but that's fine. I'm not upset. Not even a little. No, not me. That night I come across this island, which I do have to admit, this is actually pretty cool. A shipwrecked on the island. Oh wait, I remember. I was driving this. Silly me. I keep finding a bunch of interesting and cool islands, but I start realizing something. Only broken portals have gapples. Finally, night 27. So on day 28, I rush home like a little kid who just found out his parents are gonna get this cool new thing called a divorce, and now I'm gonna get 2 Christmases. Yay! Alright, I'm supposed to be saving these 2 villagers. You guys would not believe what I've been through the past, oh right. You're zombies. Can't understand me. You got that gamer brain. Okay, so now we're just gonna force them to get sick and then sell them some medicine at an extremely inflated price, just like the American healthcare system. Yeah, you like that? Political. I'm political now. I do political Minecraft videos. It's a new genre on YouTube I just made up. Pretty cool. The first villager runs outside that night because I only have the 1 bed. I realize I should probably try to protect him. And just like any homeless person, I don't really want to help. I just want to cover up the problem, since this is an election year. Eh? You like that? 2 political jokes back to back. I'm heating up over here. I decide I don't really need a cleric right now. I want a farmer and a Fletcher, so I can start artificially boosting my economy harder than China. Oh wait, that was too political. My video just got demonetized. And there's a friendly YouTube re-educator just knocked on my door. Okay guys, I'll be right back. Speaking of human right violations, it's time to start constructing the villagers' living quarters for our new slaves. Our new guests. I also decide to continue building the top floor where I'll be living. I wouldn't say that this is nicer, just different, you know, not in a prison cell kind of way. I then place my enchantment library on the top floor. Don't worry, the peasants don't need books. They're not entitled to literacy, or thoughts for that matter. Okay, fine. The United Nations just contacted me and they've informed me that they deem it necessary to allow my citizens to an education, so I am going to make a lectern, and I'm forcing a villager to act as a shill. This will ensure the rest of the world that we are in fact a totally legit and free-thinking society. Isn't that right, Mr. Librarian? But before that, I need to make more beds, which means killing more spiders. Hunting down mobs is extremely time-consuming, and I only have 48 hours before the peacekeeping force is sent to my island, so I decide to make another one of my famous XP farms to grind out some mob loot. I decide to take a short break from being a ruthless tyrant and just focus on kind of doing me for a while. I start enchanting some of my gear. I get a Fortune 3 pick and a Power 3 bow. I'm feeling a lot safer from any mobs that I might have to deal with. Now with my XP farm, I'm only going to have to find a couple of mobs here and there down in the caves when I'm mining. I finally grind up enough wool to make a 3rd bed, and I start getting the accommodations for my new librarian slave. Secretary of Education. I really got to get these terms right. I then start using my new fortune pick, grind a ton of carrots, and I start feeding them to the villagers. In order for them to breed, I technically need to give them visitation rights and break down these walls between them. This amount of free will, it doesn't really sit right with me, but I haven't found a way to automate this function of reproduction. So I guess I have to give them a couple of minutes free to run around the yard. In the meantime, all this free love has attracted some more creepy dudes. And this time, this one does manage to blow his load all over my stuff. This is why nobody likes free-range villagers. This one here has completely succumbed to Stockholm Syndrome, and he's convinced that if he helps me clean up this mess, I'll treat him like a human being. And you know that? Gosh darn it, I would, but being a dictator is just so much more fun. Now, the villagers pooped out a little baby, so I no longer need them to be roaming free. There's a lot of water from their tears, but don't worry guys, these bars are stainless steel, so we're gonna be just fine. I continue to work the XP farm throughout the night of the 37th, when I have a small slip up and this happens. I just saw this whole playthrough flash before my eyes. After all, if I die, who's gonna continue my legacy? These villagers? Come on now. Speaking of almost dying, I come down here to get some more mining done, and I almost get killed by these little baby zombies. I lost my diamond chest plate. I decide I'm not going to lose any more gear from this point on. So I go back up to the librarian and try to get some mending. I keep on trying to reset the lectern. We have a long, and heartfelt discussion where he tells me that being born and living inside a cage is an existence worse than death itself. And I tell him, too long, didn't read. Eventually, he comes around. He gives me my book of mending, and we both have a little laugh about the whole thing. I spend the next 3 days farming more XP, working my stonks and the mob farm. Finally, on day 42, I have enough XP to start putting mending on my sword and my pickaxe. A mending book is probably one of the most useful things that you can do with villagers, but don't tell them that. It just makes them sad, and we really don't need more tears. I already have enough ocean. Next, I see an iron golem has spawned in my living area. I'm gonna name him Iron Oatmeal. After, well, you guys all know the goat meal. Day 45, and I finished the mob farm. I still want a better way to get beds, so I'm gonna need a new prison. I mean, luxury micro apartment. And on day 45, we have the new prisoner. I mean, secretary of shepherd. It's a shepherd. I didn't really think up any good propaganda for this one. I did, however, think up a good torture for a new friend. It involves me threatening this poor little guy with unemployment until he offers me a more favorable deal. So I run out, I grab some carrots, sell them. By the next day, we have enough emeralds to buy his entire stock of shears. Only problem is, our shepherd is now in a coma, induced by malnourishment. Don't worry, he'll pay dearly for that. I then spend that entire night taking my anger out by doing some light industrial farming. By expanding this farm, I'll be better able to feed and care for my employees and their families. Psycho, bigger stonks for me! And finally, on day 48, we have resuscitated the shepherd. Now, I know what you're thinking. If there's no sheep on this ocean world, then what am I going to do with all these shears? Well, I'm going to contribute to the ongoing mass pollution of our beautiful oceans, of course. With all that out of the way, I can now buy wool and start mass producing beds. After this, the villager levels up and begins to fall deeper and deeper into my cult-like delusion. He finally begins just straight up selling me beds for just 2 emeralds, which further dooms his kind and their children to a continued existence of enslavement. I mean, lifelong friendship with me. I sell some more carrots, buy some more beds, and install the living quarters for the next generation of happy little workers. Honestly, this is kind of starting to get a little depressing, even with all the jokes. But don't worry, I have plenty more jokes and plenty more depression to come. Day 50, and I now start feeding the villagers and setting up even more little living cubicles for those villagers to expand into. And now the entire lower level of the castle is a hyper-efficient factory of suffering. Yay! I spend day 51 replacing all the torches with lanterns to up that medieval kind of look. Gosh, these villagers, they're just so lucky to have a caring and well-providing owner like me, the captain. With the lower level more or less full, I start working on making some rooms in the upper floor of the castle. First, some well-needed storage. But on day 52, I can hear the disheartened whimperings of the villagers coming from below me, and the only way to silence their pathetic cries is to feed them. Honestly, I don't understand why they want more food. I fed them just last week. Day 53, once again, it's back to farming. Now I invest all of my emerald coin into Toolsmith, so I can get the best tool of all, the diamond hoe. Now this whole playthrough has been worth it. I decide it's time to go back to work on the farm. Remember, control the food supply. You'll control their hearts and minds. Or else. Most of these farmers' prices do leave me wanting, but I'm just too lazy to break out the whip, so I'll take the deal. Day 55 and I had the solid stonks of emeralds again, but I have a surplus of sticks, so I decided I need a few more Fletchers. And this one here is willing to buy sticks, which kind of seems illegal, but like, seriously, this is just too easy. I then start harvesting my bamboo, and I soon realize I'm gonna need to spend some emeralds on a new CPU, because your boy's frames are falling just as hard as they were back in that zombie video. I then see that this Fletcher won't buy sticks, and this Fletcher has flatlined. I then proceed to administer some first aid by stomping all over his face. Don't worry, those crunching sounds means it's working. I then spend all night replanting the bamboo. In the morning, I see he's made a full recovery, which honestly I didn't think he'd pull through. Day 57, I'm doing some casual farming when a creeper blows open the XP farm. Apparently, they still want to creep up on my villagers, but nobody gets to physically and emotionally scar my villagers, but me. I then collect some obsidian as I want to redo my nether portal. I collect and build through the night and start making a 4-way portal. And yes, I know 4-way is a perfect chance to make some kind of sexual joke, but honestly, haven't we had enough sex from the Twitch pools, hot tubs, and beach category? Come on, Twitch. I know I'm cringe, but you're next level. Speaking of cringe, I'm now beginning to get a little overboard with this whole castle thing. When I finish up with this portal, I mean, it's starting to look straight out of WoW's Burning Crusade. Okay, maybe not that good. Maybe like Diet Crusade. We are now just a little halfway over these 100 days, and I'm already super happy with the castle build. But after giving it a quick look over, I decide I need one more thing to make it truly a castle. I got the stone walls, I've got the oppressed peasants. Now, I'm gonna needlessly invest all of my nation's wealth into a horrible and over-the-top looking throne, while all my hardworking subjects begin to starve below me. Truly, I've gone from captain to mad king, and I'm kinda loving it. Just before going to sleep, I see that this villager has a death wish, and he's sleeping in my bed. I kick him out, but I'm now wondering, why are all these villagers running around? So on day 60, when I can't find my armorer, I jump into the nether portal, and I see my worst fears have now come true. Some of the villagers, who still have a small semblance of a fighting spirit, have decided that they would rather live in HE double hockey sticks than to continue to live in my base. I had always feared this. I'm not sure if I pushed them too hard, or if I gave them too much freedom and let them run around. As I bravely try to rescue them from the grasp of the fortress demons, I feel my heart begin to soften. Could a life with me truly be worse than a fate in this place? Have I lost myself in the throes of my obsession for power and privilege? Surely these villagers, though a bit more primitive than I, they must have some loves, passions, dreams, aspirations even, hopes and fears, anxieties, ecstasies. And who am I? What right have I to pull at these strings of fate so? Who am I but... Alright, I'm the captain. I'm the best. This is just a problem more iron bars can solve. I don't know what came over me back there. Weird. Speaking of truly elevating myself to new heights, I'm going to begin working on my elevator system on top of all the portals. That night, I see the villagers have decided to continue to exercise their attempts to undermine me by doing unspeakable stuff in my bed. I remind them that God is watching, that they should probably leave before jumping into bed myself. Oh no, now they're on top of me? Come on, guys. Gross. It's all sticky. The next morning, after seeing how truly disgusting these villagers are, I decide to make these little guys a mass grave and end this whole godless atrocity. After all, they are spilling into the nether and even doubling up on beds. It's time to give them a better life. Well, I mean, at least for the survivors. I then go mining for some more minerals, and then I stumble into a mine shaft. Honestly, the best part about this is that now I have an easy way to mine some oak planks. And hopefully, down here, I can find some tree saplings. Day 63, and I'm starting to make some progress on this final resting place for those poor, unknowing, forsaken ones above me. And this is also another pain about the ocean-only world. You can't just dig out all the dirt with a shovel and then throw all your dead villagers in. You need to clean out the water first, and this means I'm gonna need to build a watertight area first, then fill it with sand to remove all the water. It's a lot of work, and between the farming and the building, it takes the better part of 3 days to get this far. As I'm continuing to clear out the water, I see that one of my villagers is so eager to die, he jumps into the grave, and he even steps in front of my pickaxe. Patience, my friend. Soon. Very, very soon. I build a temporary way out so the villagers can return to their duties. I then purchase shovels from a villager that will one day be used to bury him, and he knows it. I then see that some of the desperate villagers have made a very special pact, and they wish to be buried alive together. Oh, it's kind of cute the way they beg for the sweet release of death. I finally dig out enough sand to connect the stairway with the temporary hole. I then decide I might as well place some nice floors. I'm so fancy, even my peasants need to die in style. See, I am a good overlord. On day 68, I realized that this collection of bodies could potentially start to smell, so I want to make sure I get to work on my automated elevators. I want to make sure that I'm way up above them. I want to make sure these elevators get just above the cloud line. There's no way a villager will ever get up here. All joking aside though, this is all really coming together. I love the idea of building up in the clouds, then on the ocean, and even underground, all with one big build. Day 69, and oof, I'm reminded of those horrible things those villagers did to me in the bed. Now I'm even more driven to end them. I'm now almost done with their tomb, and I clear out the last bits of water. The next day, I go to grab some magma cubes for the elevator. I'll fill up the hole with kelp. This makes all the water blocks source blocks, which makes the elevators work properly. This will be the downside. It also makes the whole tube oxygenated, so I won't have to worry about drowning, unless it's in the tears of the villagers. Finally, on day 71, I decide that maybe these poor villagers should be allowed to live after all. I'm beginning to slowly learn to love my new villager family. But also, the inspectors from the United Nations will be here on Tuesday. I need to convince them these are luxury hotels, not a godless pit of suffering. I started buying some more beds, and I get ready for my famous iron bar accommodations. Now, I know, this is starting to look like an underground dungeon, but come on now, you're starting to sound like those silly human rights activists. Windows might lead to skin cancer, we don't want that, and also there's no proper drainage, but that just means the villagers will never have to worry about running out of water. Or mold for that matter. Yum! Now, as lovely as this underground cesspool is going to be, I should probably focus on making sure I stay far away from it. I started leveling up my mason because I want him to sell me quartz, which I still want to include in my next build, but I don't want to cheat and collect the quartz from the nether. I started breeding up more villagers to make more masons, and also started selling them more stone to continue to level them up. Do these guys know you can just find stone in the ground? The next morning, I spent putting dirt at the top of the elevators and work on my final build, a floating sky island. I had a silk touch block of grass, so as soon as I'm done making the island, it will all turn into grass. The rest of the day was spent interrogating, doing business with the mason and getting some lime terracotta. And then finally, he offered me some quartz, which is what I've been looking for. I spend that night getting a little dirty and finally expand the island a little bit more. Day 75. Which means we are now 3/4 of the way done with these 100 days. And it's been an amazing playthrough. Well, at least for me. The villagers, well, I figure since I was such a good caretaker, I deserve to treat myself a little bit. And I start building a little pond on the sky island. I run out of dirt, but I can see some right there. I then add some water, because one thing this playthrough doesn't have is enough good old water. I then also add a small little hill out front for a little extra dimension. This sky island is starting to look really nice. I really hope the villagers don't get jealous, because if they do, I would have to remind them how lucky they are. That night, I go to buy some melon seeds, and this happens. Somehow, while I was up in the sky, a zombie must have snuck into the base and turned some of my most important villagers into zombies. And I'm gonna have to save these innocent victims immediately. But first, let's go buy some melons. I'm just taking a little break here, admiring the castle. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, right, we're supposed to be saving those villagers. Forgetful me. Step 1 is buy some apples. This would have been a big pain with no trees, but the villagers make this easy. Or else. Then we get these all nice and golden. Then I grab the last potion of weakness from the very beginning of the game. I corral all the villagers into one area, and then I say the magic words. Ski-daddle, ski-doodle. Your brain is now a noodle. Day 78, and I'm sure those villagers will be fine. There's only like a 50-50 chance of death. Meanwhile, I'm working on my own luxurious lifestyle. I set out some white concrete and start adding some water to form it up. After the last video, I'm really starting to like concrete. It's really got this look that says, hey, look at me. I'm better than you. I begin setting out the floor plan for my new house. I already made an old-timey type castle, so now I'm going for a different look. I then pop on down and, oh look, they all lived. I think they all lived. I come back up, and I start really getting into the build. When I started this ocean build, I was honestly thinking that I'd find a tree sapling by now. I'd be able to make this castle at the very beginning, but then I'd be able to make a tavern out of wood later on in the playthrough. Now I'm almost done with this 100 days and I still don't have a tree. But I gotta be honest with you, playing without any wood, it's actually really fun. Most builds in Minecraft are a little boring. Wooden planks for walls. Wooden planks for staircase roof. Maybe some stripped wood supports. It's all just kind of the same. Besides, I mean, I already did that in the first 100 days video. Now I'm getting to try my skills with something that I've never done before. A modern, contemporary looking house. I grabbed some black ink and I make some black concrete because I don't want to just have a monotone looking house. I then add a huge side staircase, which honestly, this is kind of my favorite part of the whole build. I then place some diorite slabs and I make them floating to make things look a little more minimalist. I couldn't choose if I wanted to make a castle and go old or classic, or make this really cool new age building. So I decided to do both. But I also knew that if I placed these two builds next to each other, it would look kind of silly. That's why I placed the old-timey castle down there at the bottom, and then I made a portal / magic elevator, which would shoot me up to the futuristic sky base. I also buy these terracotta blocks from my mason and incorporate them into the wall of the stairwell. Up here, it's got a really clean, modern look that fits in perfectly with the clouds. I'm also using a combination of clear glass and light blue glass. I bought the light blue dye from the traveling merchants. It's kind of fun to force yourself to only be able to use a limited amount of blocks in a world. You get to really test your improvisational building skills. It's fun, and I don't add too many doors, I keep everything open. I add some of this terracotta lime to parallel the bamboo in the back, and I try to keep most of the walls glass, because I don't want to drown this whole thing in white, and also I want to be able to see the outside. That night, I start adding my blocks of lapis, and you'll see what I do with those later. I then turn all the torches into lanterns. Okay, now for this part, I swear, even though I've been a jerk to the villagers, I would never harm a llama. I've seen what you guys do to llamas just to get their leads. You people are sick. I hit this one, but it was a mistake. I immediately apologize. I had a plant terrace out front, a little jacuzzi in the back. I then have a waterfall that goes all the way down to the pool. This is for my guests. And by guests, I mean you guys, not the villagers. Of course not. Gross. I then get the wool for my bed, which I think is a pretty cool color. And finally add some storage down below. I gotta say, now that it's pretty much done, this house came out pretty awesome. Too bad, I have less than 20 days to live in it. Day 83, and I want some flowers. What? There's nothing wrong with a dude who likes flowers. And finally, I've decided I've spent enough days on my own. It's time to go back down and deal with those villagers now. I finally get the last of the villagers' living area set. Now, I don't really have a use for any more villagers at this point. I have one of every villager. I don't have any more items I need to buy from them. All this means is that my villagers will now be very expendable. And they know it, because I whispered in their ears every time I pass by them in the halls. Okay, enough villager stuff. Back to my sky fantasy base. I start cooking up some more white concrete again. Now you're probably thinking, but Captain, don't you already have your base finished? Oh, you're starting to sound like those pesky villagers again. Remember, it's Minecraft. There's no such thing as done. We just continue building, and the villagers continue being okay with it. I'm using the concrete to cover all the dirt at the bottom of the sky island, so it looks like a huge floating cloud. Admittedly, I probably should have done this from the start, but I'm just making this up as I go. I gotta go down and start feeding my villagers, because I can hear their cries for help all the way up at the sky base. And now they're just making new villagers like crazy, right in my face. Come on, you disgusting animals. Save it for a Twitch stream. And then as I come back home, I see a little bit of a problem. This villager's really crossed the line by coming up here to my sky base. This is really not okay. I try to shove him down the trash chute, but he says he can't stand another minute of that torture, and he resists. Well, I guess now I get to play out my Lion King fantasy. Long live the king. Oh god, how will I sleep with all the guilt? Oh, that's right, you just right-click. Easy. I spend all of day 87 making my cloud base. I can't go down and see the villagers today. They're too busy having something called a funeral? I don't know, man. Seems like some sus villager stuff to me. That night, I get the last cloud cover set. Well, and set. There. I didn't really think this one through. Oh well. Day 87 is a good run. Got him. I decided that my last project before the finale is I really want to find a tree sapling. I spent 3 days down in this mine shaft, looking in every chest I could find, and I only managed to find Heartache. Well, a book with infinity on it, but mostly just Heartache. I get bullied by this group. They say I should be nicer to my villagers, but, I mean, what do they know? Even after a full 90 days in the ocean, I have to admit it. I'm gonna do 100 days without finding a single tree. I go back and I start making some big trades and getting an inventory full of beds for my last mission of the 100 days. Finally, on day 93, I go into the Nether. I know I said I wasn't gonna get any blocks for the Nether, and I'm not getting any to build with. I had my builds made 100% with ocean world only blocks. But I'm gonna set up the hardest challenge I've ever done in Minecraft, and I want to get some netherite armor just in case for this challenge. I'm starting off here by using my beds to mine through the caves. I get some quick success. At one point, I blow myself down to 2 hearts, because you know me, I'm smart like that. Remember when I killed myself in that first 100 days video doing this? Oh my god! Oh, spoilers! Ooh. Okay, don't listen to that last part there that I just said. That was clickbait. That didn't really happen. Yeah. Yeah. I use up all my beds, but I'm still a little bit short of a full set of netherite gear. And since I have a pick with mending on it, I figured there's no harm in just doing some old-fashioned strip mining through the nether. I start cutting down the netherite blocks faster than Dream's face reveal to cut down his career. Oof, another Dream joke? Only the best for you guys. Hey, if you're still watching, you've earned it. I popped out of the nether and start crafting up my netherite. One of my villagers sells thorns, so I'm trying to enchant all of my gear, all with thorns, before I throw the netherite on. And I'm almost ready, but I need to grind up a bit more XP to fully enchant everything. That means using the XP farm, and okay, the XP farm just blew up in my face. That means using trades with villagers, which do not blow up in my face. Oh wait, I have some gunpowder. Hold on guys, stay right there. No, I'm just kidding. I keep working on my trades, and I get enough XP to get mending and thorns on all my gear. I start upgrading my gear, starting with pants, of course. These videos there are really starting to follow a pattern here. I then get my boots upgraded to some Air 1 captains. I get a bit carried away and upgrade my sword, which is good, and then my pickaxe, which is bad. See, I only got enough netherite to get my sword and all my gear upgraded. I didn't care about upgrading my pick, since I wasn't going to be using that in the next fight. This just means that I'm going to have to go back into the nether to finish up the set. While I'm down here, I might as well grab the other thing I wanted. That's right, wither skulls. Don't get ahead of me. I run down and I grab some netherite, and I'm hurrying, because I'm almost out of time. I only have 4 days left. I go back up to the fortress to farm some skulls, and after 2 whole days of farming, I finally grab a second one. But watch this. I'm not going to make any edits here, and I'm not going to cut up the footage. You can see down in my hotbar that I just grabbed that second skull, and I even checked the days to see if it's day 99 yet. I'm thinking to myself, if it took me 2 days to get 1 more skull, it takes me another 2 days to get the 3rd skull, I'm going to run out of time. But I guess Mojang blesses me with some luck, and it only takes me 15 seconds after finding that second skull to find the 3rd one just in time. I craft up my netherite ingot, upgrade my chestplate, boom. I'm now fully decked out and ready to do something a little crazy. I go up to my bed and I go to sleep for one last time. Day 99. I turn on my cheats and I go into creative mode. Go ahead, dislike the video if you want, but hear me out. An ocean-only world like this doesn't have a naturally spawning stronghold, and therefore, I'm not going to be able to fight the enderdragon, which, let's be honest, is the only real fitting way to end a video like this. So, I decide I'm going to make my own portal on top of my netherite portals. I even use the Eyes of Ender that I got in survival mode. I admit, it feels a little bit wrong to see the words set own game mode to survival mode on my screen in hardcore, but I think you'll agree with me, this is the right thing to do for the content. Here we go, ready to face down that Endy Mama. Now with full Netherite gear, the enderdragon is, is kind of an easy kill. And it wouldn't really be too exciting, so I'm gonna try something I've never done before in Minecraft. I'm gonna fight the enderdragon and the wither at the same time. Honestly, I didn't even know if this was gonna work, but hey, let's see what happens here. First, I'm gonna go after the enderdragon and start at the end. Like what I did there? I managed to take out about half the crystals from this first pillar, but then I'm forced to jump. Lucky me, I still got those NLG hands. Start making my way up the other cage pillar, and I can hear the wither behind me. This is one of the scariest things ever. I can see ender pearls everywhere from the dead enderman, and I know the wither's close. I take care of most of the other crystals pretty quickly, but I think I can see one more in the distance. Pop it, then I rush the dragon. If I can get her down quickly, I can work on the wither pretty safely. I get thrown up in the air and yeah, remember how I was bragging about those MLG skills? Well, I think I just whiffed that one a little bit, so cool. I run up and I start taking chunks of damage. But with my thorns, the dragon's taking a bunch of damage too. I wonder if the wither will be the same way. I start getting some good hits with my sword. And then I keep up the pressure with my bow. Honestly, I kind of like using the bow on the dragon more than the sword anyway. This is kind of fun for me. I don't know about you guys. Just then, I can see the wither right out of the corner of my eye coming right at me. I need to finish this fast. I get the dragon finished off on the next landing. Or maybe she killed herself with my thorns? I'm not sure. Doesn't really matter. I'm still really cool, and I killed the dragon. Now I don't see the wither right away, and I decide to grab the egg before I lose it. Okay, now I just have to find the wither, but I can't even hear it. I see a few endermen that have the wither poison on them, but I have no idea where it's gotten off to. Then I see it starts to take damage out of nowhere. And I guess what happens is if you spawn the wither in the end, there's a pretty good chance it'll just fall off into the void. I know it must be below me, so I go down as far as I can. So now I'm thinking, that's it. It's out of my reach, and I'm just gonna call it here. Then... oops. And that's just how it ends. Sometimes you don't finish the hardcore run after all. I mean, you guys gotta admit, 99 days is pretty good, and even if I did die, this build is pretty sick. I guess with me dead, the villagers are gonna inherit this place, and the whole world, for that matter. For the world to truly be free, the dragon, the wither, and the captain had to die. Or something, IDK. I'm just trying to wrap up this video, guys. Sorry I didn't kill it with it.